Hi everyone, in this video we're going to look at used to and would and how we can use these words when talking about actions and states in the past. Alright, so let's look at this first sentence. I used to go to the park with my friends when I was young. So, we're using used to, and what does this sentence mean? When are we talking about? Well, we're talking about when I was young, so that happened in the past. And I used to go to the park with my friends. Does this mean the action, go to the park, happened only once? Or was it a repeated action? Well, we use used to talk about repeated actions in the past. So, I used to go to the park with my friends. This is something that I did many times in the past, but when I was young. So from this sentence we know that the action happened many times, but also we know that it doesn't happen anymore. So this is a repeated action that happened in the past and doesn't happen anymore. Now something that's very important to remember when using used to. First we have our subject, I, plus our phrase, used to, plus go, which is the base form of the verb, the infinitive without to. So even though we're talking about the past, our verb has to be the infinitive without to. We can't say, I used to went. No, that's not correct. We have to say, I used to go. And another thing that's very important when we are speaking or listening to the phrase, I used to, actually, this to is weak. So we don't actually say, I used to go. We say, I used to go. I used to go. I used to go to the park with my friends. Now let's look at our second sentence. We would play football for hours. I really enjoyed those times. So here we're using would. And again, when did this happen? It happened in the past. Also, play football is a repeated action that happened in the past, but doesn't happen anymore. I could say, we used to play football for hours, but it's nice to change. It's nice to have some variance. It makes what you're saying sound more interesting. And very often, we use would when telling a story. So we might start off with, I used to go to the park with my friends, and then continue with, we would play football. Now let's look at the sentence structure for would. Okay, so we have our subject, which is we, plus would, plus the base form of the verb again. So the infinitive without to. So now let's take a look at the pronunciation of we would. Now we can say we would play football for hours, but very often we and would get contracted to we'd. So we'd play football for hours instead of we would play football for hours. So we can kind of take away would and put an apostrophe D, so we'd play football for hours. And this is very common when we are speaking. So it's something that you need to incorporate into your own pronunciation. Okay, so we've used to and would to talk about past actions, but we can also use the past simple. For example, I really enjoyed. So here we're using a state verb, enjoy, so we can use the past simple tense as well. But we could also use an action verb. If we take our first sentence, I used to go to the park with my friends. So with a little bit of tweaking, we can change this sentence by getting rid of used to and using the past simple tense, but to have the same meaning. So for example, we can say, I went to the park with my friends a lot when I was young. So we didn't use used to, we used the past simple, but both sentences have the same meaning. Both sentences are talking about a repeated action that happened in the past but doesn't happen anymore. Okay, so here are two sentences, one using used to and one using would. So the first one, I used to want to be a professional footballer, but now I'm a teacher. Or, I would want to be a professional footballer, but now I'm a teacher. Which one is incorrect? It's this one. This is incorrect. Why? Well, let's look at the verb we're using, want. So this is a state verb, and we can't use state verbs with would. We can only use state verbs with used to. Okay, so two more sentences, but this time we have used to and be used to. So, first sentence, I used to drink lots of coffee. Second sentence, I'm used to drinking lots of coffee. So what's the difference? So we said with used to, we are talking about repeated actions that happened in the past but don't happen anymore. So, I used to drink lots of coffee. In the past, I drank lots of coffee, but now I don't. Now I don't drink lots of coffee. Maybe one or two. But if we look at this sentence, I'm used to drinking lots of coffee. Are we still talking about the past? Well, no. When we say I'm used to drinking lots of coffee, what it means is it's normal for me to drink lots of coffee. So if I drink lots of coffee, it's fine, there's no problem. And we can say, I'm used to it. Now something I hear very often is this common mistake. I would to play football with my friends. Now, this is incorrect. After would, we don't need to. After would, we have the infinitive verb without to. Now this is very difficult for some people because they think used to, would to. But no, it's used to plus infinitive without to, and would plus infinitive without to. So if you want to be correct, make sure you don't say this. Okay, so here are the rules. We use used to talk about habits and states in the past. We use would only to describe habits in the past. And finally, to add more variance to your speaking and your writing, we can also use the past simple to talk about habits and states in the past. My advice is to use a combination of all three. That way your speaking and your writing becomes more interesting. Instead of used to, used to, used to, used to, used to, we can change from used to I would, and then also use the past simple tense, just to mix things up. Okay, so that's everything for this video. I hope you found it useful, and I'll see you soon.